It's the moment you guys have been waiting for. We've got TV broadcast schedules. We've got the schedule for the games and fan engagement events galore coming to you in a local market. It's episode 76 of the UFL podcast, and it starts right now.
1, 2, 3.
Welcome back, everybody, to the latest episode of the UFL podcast. I am Zach Heilman, hosting this week, along with my good buddy and pal on the opposite side, as always. You know him as the guy that wants to be on the field and wants to get a USFL retro set of apparel. It is the ref himself. We're still waiting, by the way. There's some USFL ref jersey and gear that's going to be in a lockup somewhere. We're going to find it for you.
I'm telling you. It's sitting in a room alone, and I'm waiting for it. Someone just drop me a line. You know what? Just throw it on eBay. Send me the link. I'll get it done. We'll make it happen. But I'm super happy to be here. Another good week. ATU. I mean, we've been having fun. ATU, if you guys don't know, around the UFL. I like that it has an acronym. I love acronyms. ATU works out perfect. But around the UFL has been fun. But this last episode was probably, they just get more fun every week. I mean, we had Chase on there calling everybody out, including our man Ducky. So if you haven't caught it, make sure you check it out on this channel right here. Another reason why you need to be subscribed. Clicking that bell, building morale so you know when we go live. Just like Spring Stock 3, which is coming up. We were just talking about that, Zach boy. 2-day event. 2 days?
2 days, baby. And yeah, both games, once again, we're continuing that trend from last year to kick things off, going to Arlington, Texas, tailgating with the folks out there with the Renegades crew, and then we're going to head down to H-Town and enjoy things with the folks over on the rig, partying it up, tailgating over with the Houston Roughnecks crowd. Some people that you are very familiar with, obviously, and I'm very excited to be seeing these guys because look, outside this show, between that and Texans games, you've hyped me the hell up for these people. And I am stoked to see this.
It's
Seriously.
So fun. I do need to talk to the guys and see if they'll bring out the fire truck, because now that it's at another location,
that will make my day. That's all I want.
I need to make this happen. Truck. And if we do, we'll make sure that there's pictures on this. We'll definitely get some video, because day one, we're going to be live on YouTube. So you want to make sure, another reason to be subscribed. So if you can't make it out to Arlington, we get it. You can tune in. But if you're there, come join us for the party in the parking lot. Day 2, ain't no cameras. It's Easter Day, baby.
Just
and I'm getting lit. Come say hi. We are going to be partying in style. There's going to be food. There's going to be drinks. There's going to be music. We'll be watching that early game. We'll be watching that early game out there. So if you want to watch the early game in style in Houston with the ref and Zach and maybe some others from the newsroom crew, come out to Spring Stock 3, because everything's bigger and better in Texas.
3 years of Spring Stock. Unreal. You can't wait. We're going to be pumping the living hell out of that as we go along with around the UFL, like Ref was talking about, which, by the way, I mean, hey, you've got your schedule locked down with us for UFL all season long. Around the UFL on Mondays, us being Fridays, and that's going to keep on churning up, especially for our show here every Friday going into the season, as long as we keep getting news and cycle and all that. So stick to us on UFL Podcast channel as well. Might as well keep the plugs going, by the way. Social at UFL Podcast, also at Around the UFL, by the way, for those shows on all your favorite social media platforms. We're putting clips out more and more every day, so be able to tune in, especially if you miss the Monday shows live stream. Hey, we're convincing you to come and join us, because that audience is growing every week. We're not kidding, by the way. Breaking Tea, 10% off coupon code for maybe any remaining merch left for UFL gear. You can use code USFL Newsroom for that, by the way. That's at USFL Newsroom. Should also work for the rest of the site. There's other gear on there, too, from years past. But please, that does help support the shows we make over here at PFN. And finally, Spring Stock 3, again, just got to reiterate it. So nice, I have to say it twice, and I have to take that phrase from the man that created it right across from me. So there you have it. It's how we're going to lead in the show. Any other things I'm missing? Because otherwise, we're going to dive into some stuff we already talked about and maybe some things we missed from Monday's show with the broadcast and TV schedules, my friend. A lot of stuff there.
I don't think I have anything. Let's dive into it.
Yeah, let's indeed dive into it. So, as you guys saw this past Monday, the league announced its entire setup for how it's going to be at least broadcasting games and where and when teams are going to be playing. So a few things that we did have of note from the said announcements, and one thing actually we didn't talk about that we are going to talk about on here. So first things first, the setup for the playoffs they announced is going to be traditional playoffs. That was rumored to not be. We'll dive into that a little bit more as we dive into this discussion. Secondly, the split. So Fox is carrying a massive load by itself. 21 games are going to be on Fox broadcast television, by the way. 3 of those weeks will have Fox regional games. So if any of you are wondering what the hell's regional games? So if you watch the NFL, that is essentially what we are talking about. So they're going to have the games on at a specific time for 3 of the said weeks. But you're going to have different regional-based broadcasts depending on the market you are in. So 506 Sports, I better see a UFL region map coming out because that's exactly what I need to see, given especially West Coast audiences. Some other things, ABC, ESPN are going to be also leading the way with themselves, also getting another bulk part of the share with another 21 games apiece for them. Only other one is FS1 has 1 game. Which was another standout article piece to me in the PR. FS1.
We have one FS1 and one ESPN2. One ESPN2 hidden in the mix. So, yeah, it'll be interesting. And what I'm more curious about those weeks, and this gets difficult to do flex scheduling with dates and stadiums. This is where the beauty of the USFL Season 1, they could throw any game on at any time. But I almost wonder if we see the network switch some of these things. I don't know. We'll have to see. But yeah, the good news is it's not going to be hard to find a majority of these games, right?
Absolutely will not be.
Especially you're getting a bulk share, 21 on Fox with an additional 10 on ABC. So 31 games of the season are on free over-the-air television. If you have an antenna and a good signal, I'll add, you're getting the game.
That too.
And now if you have cable, which there's all sorts of options now, you don't even need cable. And I'll tell you this, I think YouTube TV has a deal right now, $50 a month for your first 3 months. I'm hoping that deal is still around when the USFL kicks off. So you might want to look into that. And hey, a little secret, if you've already had YouTube TV, just create another Gmail account and you'll get the deal. Just, you heard it here first, folks. The Frugal Ref coming with the deets. But
you have options, people.
Yeah.
These are available at your disposal. Don't miss out on easy setups for free or discounted products.
Actually, I take it back. You know how you all should be watching the video, and I'm going to put a link down in the description. You should watch it through Fubo. You'll get every game, and we're going to have a code down below.
There it is.
So go ahead if you want that. And actually, if you want ESPN Plus, you could really help us out. If you're going to sign up for ESPN Plus, we'll put a link down below as well, because that will help us a lot. You're going to pay the same. I think you'll get a free week or month. I don't know.
Ooh.
I'll look into that. But there's going to be a link down below for Fubo and ESPN Plus. Fubo. Is that what it is? What is it?
Fubo, but I mean,
Fubo.
Hey, Fubo.
I'm going back to my early days. Fubo.
Who do you Fubo?
Yeah. So anyway, not to derail us, but if you want to help out Newsroom, links down below. And those are ways that you can watch the games as well. And I believe every game would be on Fubo because
it would, yeah.
Maybe ESPN2, I don't know. That's the one that I'm not sure about.
I'd be surprised. ESPN2 is basically available as much as the other two, so you should be good. I wouldn't be. And anyway, if you get ESPN Plus, here's my thing. Like, if you really need all the games, like FS1's that one stickler game, it's going to be hard to get unless Fox do a solid and make it free on Fox Sports app, because it's the one game that you're not doing via cable, or that you're doing via cable that doesn't have an ESPN Plus easy access. That'd be great, because I know that ESPN2, all those ABC Disney games, they're going to be ESPN Plus. So it's going to be the same XFL standard, and then Fox, it's going to be, hey, it's on air on Fox. Just get an antenna. You can watch it just like any other American across the country. So pretty standard stuff. Let's revisit the regional broadcast setup. So I did kind of mention again, James touched on around the UFL, and we kind of did a little bit on it. Thoughts on it yourself? You led the conversation. We actually never rounded back and got to your take on it, but it's interesting because, like, to NFL fans, this is pretty normal.
Yeah.
To spring football fans who just want access open and aplenty, which that was talked about, this is a kind of curious case because it's going to be on Fox, so you can't just buy an ESPN Plus subscription and find the stream. You just have to be in the market.
Yeah, that's going to be interesting. My hope would be, and I have a couple points on this. My hope would be on that last one is that if the game is out of market, it'll be available on the Fox Sports app after the game out of market. That would be my hope
too.
That might not be the case. I'll be honest with you. That might not be the case, but that would be my hope. A couple thoughts on why they may have done that. One, I mean, clearly it could be a cost-cutting thing, right? You only need to carve out one time spot for multiple games, so where you could still have, I don't know what else is going on during that time, but it frees up the airwaves for maybe something that you could bring in some more money in. So I could see that. The other one, and it feels like this one's probably not as feasible, but maybe there was a scheduling conflict in the way to where they had to force these games to where they would have overlapped anyway. So we might as well just put them on at the same time, because then we could just do regional broadcastings. Maybe, again, I don't know, probably less feasible, but potentially, maybe a reason behind this. I'll say this though. And this is how I've always stood, whether it's the XFL, the USFL, the Spring League, AAF, any of the multiple leagues that we've covered in our 6+ years now. If doing that helps them have another season, sign them up. Regional broadcasting, at least it's limited games. If we get to next season and it's more games, that gets a little sticky, because me personally, I like to watch all the games. I understand not everybody that watches these games is a spring football crazy, as we've been known to call them. But at the same time, I really do. Well, one, we cover all the games, right?
True.
And sometimes
That's
on a limited skeleton crew, right? So there's that aspect of it. But anyway, at least it's only 3 games that it impacts.
Yeah,
like
it's only 3 of the weeks is what
3
it is.
weeks. 3 weeks, yeah.
Yeah, it's a certain select setup of games for those weeks. I've kind of juggled this. I had my original thoughts on the around the UFL was basically, the advertising gets kind of pushed in to 1, and you're just told, hey, no matter what, this is on at this time, just jump in and watch. That's what you're going to get. If you're in a local market, no worries. It's going to be on at this time. I think to me, honestly, your other point on the scheduling aspect, look, this frees up Fox's schedule to do what they want elsewhere. And also, I think they're possibly experimenting to also see, I think, if they can get more audience on over the air and avoid possibly any FS1 issues. And I'm not knocking Fox Sports 1, but look, I don't think anyone's going to expect them to get back to what the XFL had 3 years ago on that channel. It just doesn't seem very feasible. That drop-off was I mean, I can't say how impressively cataclysmic it was that those ratings went from averaging easily 1 million plus to we're happy if we get a 200K broadcast. That's like, we're talking an 80% reduction in ratings.
Right. Yeah.
For a 2-year difference. That's impressively bad.
Yeah.
And that was something we talked about during ratings discussions on old shows with the USFL, and they just could never seem to figure it out. They did the leadoff one that made 500K this year, but it only added a bit more to the ratings. I think that's part of it too. the flexibility. FS1's got plenty of content they can throw on there. They do a lot of baseball, so more opportunities for MLB where you're not having like overlap scheduling as well. Fox
Which we
can
saw
just focus
impact
on one thing. Yeah, which it did. Exactly. And I think that's part of the other deal is, like I said, you have the over-the-air, Fox, Big Fox, as it's referred to for some circles in TV. They worry about having it hit very more scheduled items, and if you're scheduling it earlier in the day, which a lot of these regionals seem to be like the 1 o'clock bracket, it's probably going to be the leadoff on that every week. So you're guaranteed when you jump on, no issues with jumping in, no MLB baseball having to punt it down to FS2. It's there. And that makes it so that fans don't complain. The ratings actually are better for that, by the way. So, for the most part, so you're not having people get scared off. I like it better, or I like it in that sense. It's going to be a bit of pill to swallow, though, because if people like us want to watch all the games, I do implore that Fox gives us an option right away to either watch or rewatch somewhere. That's my only caveat. Don't wait till the end of the season to post all these broadcasts on Tubi or make us watch via a cable subscription on Fox Sports app. If you do that, well, that's where you're hurting some folks, because it's a niche audience. Don't gate your niche audience right now. Right. Is what I'm saying.
I will say this, the one thing that I'm so happy that we're not seeing this year in the schedule, there is a lot of FXs in the schedule, but there's an O in between them. There is no FX the channel on here.
Bye-bye.
And because it's not that it was hard to find the channel, but I think it ran into a similar problem that FS1 had. Maybe not as drastic, but it definitely paled in comparison to the over-the-air broadcast, to the ESPN broadcasts, so on and so forth. So I do like seeing that. And like we said earlier, I think it's 31 games over the air, free television. That's a good start. Some regional.
Yeah.
We'll see how this rolls out next year, right? But as long as we get the next year, I'm happy with what we have. There's always going to be naysayers in the crowd, one way or the other. Me, spring football, is it playing? I'm happy.
Yeah, I am glad. Look, either way, you're going to be happy it's out. We'll see what they do moving forward with some of these items with the broadcast, but I think it'll be fascinating for their strategy moving ahead into next year. Something I also am keeping an eye on, and this came across our desk post the show on Monday, and you'll notice that people were talking about it because it mentions the UFL in the plans. Fox, ESPN, and Warner Brothers Discovery are merging assets to make a new streaming platform for sports fans starting this fall. Yep. And in the plans from several industry sources, the UFL is listed as one of the football options that will be displayed on this program. Now, I did some digging and reading into it. There's been some talks and rumblings before that announcement came out, by the way, and it's looking like that is possibly going to be like a $30 a month package. But basically, it's like if you took cable and you only got the sports stuff and you threw the rest of the garbage out. So $30 and you get like basically all the games and programming from 3 channels.
Yeah, you're just missing out on NBC and CBS. And at least with NBC, you could tack that on. At least their lowest package, I think, is $5, and that still does give you the live streaming. Maybe it doesn't. Maybe you'd have to do the 10. I don't know.
I think there's a few more details I'm waiting. Although I did say 3 channels, 3 networks, because like I'm talking, there's way more than 3 channels.
It's all the ESPN channels. It's all the Fox channels. Yep.
TNT Sports, which is basically Warner's wing now of sports they're doing. So like NBA
basketball. So you would get AEW wrestling. You would get UFC. Not UFC. Sorry. UFL. Completely different world here.
Yes.
Usually we screw it up with the USFL, and somehow I screwed up with the UFC. Anyway, but yeah, I mean, I think there's that'll be interesting to see roll out. Quite honestly, I wish we had something like that this year.
Would be nice.
Do I wish it was maybe around the $15 bracket? Yeah. Will it be? No, I don't think so.
No.
I'll be happy if it's $30. I'll be happy because I could see them going in at 40 to 50, which I think would be. I don't want to say anything mean, but I think that would be a mistake. I think 30 is your, I always equate everything to what is your Little Caesars hot and ready pizza. Little Caesars was a huge chain in the 90s, and then they fell off hard. And you know how they fixed themselves? $5 hot and ready pizzas. $5 was the magic number. So much so that Subway saw that and said, oh, wow. All right, $5 footlongs. And so that was like the magic barrier at the time. If you could get something for $5, people would be more likely to buy it because it's just in their head that that's cheaper. Plus 30, I even think 30. I think it needs to be the $29.99, so there's the 2 in front.
Yes.
Gets it. I think $24.99. Hire me, guys. $24.99 is the price point that you're going to win people. And hey, you know, you can always raise the prices in a couple of years. That's how it goes. You know what I mean? That's how it always happens. I mean, Netflix is like $1 million now. So
right. I mean,
and it's going to go up. You know it. Yeah,
they're getting into sports, man. Look, I'm a sucker for TV industry news. They're building a freaking production facility for sports. Apparently in New Jersey is what the talk is. So it's only going to keep going. Like everyone's going to get into it, you know, and that's kind of overall, it's a good thing for extra sports that need the avenues, by the way. So, you know, I am fascinated. Like it's obviously next year. We got to get through the season again. I'm trying to be that guy, but like, you know, hey, look, they're committed to it. Fox owns half the damn league. So they got to, you know, if they're going to merge stuff in, you want to start bringing your own content to a place you can throw it in there. So that's nice. And something to keep an eye on for the future. Just note, it's going to be a big deal in the TV industry, especially for your sports viewing habits as well. Any other thoughts on the schedule itself or just like the broadcast schedule? I mean, like I said, FS1, ESPN2, it just feels like they're trying to do over the air and the best of the biggest channels. I mean, ESPN, in terms of cable, it's like it's cable, but you still were averaging pretty decent numbers last year for XFL games on ESPN's main channel. So not really a big deal, honestly. People are going to go to ESPN no matter what. They know it.
Right. And even if you don't have cable, that one still as of now is pretty easy to get. ESPN Plus isn't too bad. That's the one thing I missed from last year is having all the games on ESPN Plus.
Yeah.
That was just magical. You didn't need cable. You didn't need anything. You just needed one little magical app, and it had everything in there.
I did enjoy that convenience a lot.
Yeah.
It's nice. So you at least get it's basically back to the NBC equivalent. Now you get half of them, but it's not NBC this time.
Right.
I guess no USA.
Yeah.
I don't know. What do I got? What do I got elsewhere? Looking forward to it. Schedule's gonna be great. Say leadoff game is spring stock, of course. 1:00 game though. That's the only thing we already talked about on ATU. It is what it is, but it'll at least kick things off.
Well, it's actually noon kickoff here.
1:00 Eastern. See, I'm thinking on the East Coast.
Yeah, so if you're actually going to the game, it's a noon kickoff, which, by the way, that means an early spring stock, 9 a.m. Eastern. 9 a.m. Eastern. And I think day 2 is either 9 or 10 a.m. Or, 9 a.m. Central, 9 a.m. Central, beep boop. And 9 or 10 a.m. Central for day 2. I got to get
your mimosas ready.
Yeah.
Get your brunch.
Yeah. Anyway, and people wonder, what does triple fisting it mean? Well, let me explain it to you, boneheads.
Perfect timing. Why not? Throw it in there.
Well, because I'm going to be triple fisting it probably at spring and summer stock, because triple fisting it is a water, a coffee, and a beer. And so you cycle through them. Now, clearly you don't have 3 hands, so you can't hold all 3 at the same time.
Yes.
But, you know, if you've ever heard double fisting it, we have 2 beers. I kind of adapted that because in my good old days, I still like to drink, but I like to drink a lot more early when I was younger. And in Arizona, you'll know, NFL starts early in that early season,
it
right?
Certainly does.
So I would go to the bar, I would get an omelet, and I'd get a water, a coffee, and a beer. And then I was triple fisting it. So there you go. For any of you weirdos thinking I was talking about something dirty out there. And by the way, this is from Around the UFL from this past Monday's episodes, which is why you need to be watching all the shows so you know the PFN lore, which is another reason you need to be in the Discord, because there's all sorts of lore in there. Anyway, Town Halls, am I right?
Yes. Let's dive in to coaches and personnel getting in with the fans and talking about that. Who knows? Maybe some of these red eye flights, I imagine a few of them, maybe they need to be triple.
Yeah.
Something. Eventually. But yes, look, all the teams we're seeing starting to get town halls and events done publicly, getting out there into the communities and getting just fan engagement events going on. It did start out, we had Birmingham kind of lead the charge. Michigan got one in, and now we have two more with Memphis and San Antonio. And we'll go through the dates here really quick. One of them's going on as we record, by the way, today with Birmingham. So that's going to have Coach Skip Holtz, head of football operations now, Daryl Johnston going to be there, Moose in attendance, and Russ Brandon. That's like the big card one of all of them on this list. Not saying that there's lesser ones on here. I'm just telling you the fact you got Russ Brandon and Daryl there. That's a big one. Like that's one that we have our own guys going out there too. We're going to hear back and get some things from that later on that you'll probably hear before this episode drops. But still, that's the big boy event with the three big dogs in attendance, starting things off. And then it's like rapid fire the next 2 days, like coming up here. So like Friday, as we're releasing this episode, Memphis is going to have John DiFilippo doing
Coach
his own
Flip,
thing.
Friend
Coach
of the show.
Yes. And already on ATU, one of many great guests that have been on ATU already as we've started that show. And then the next day in Michigan, it's like we're just puddle jumping all over the place. Mike Nolan and Jim Pop will be joining over there in Michigan. That was supposed to be Russ Brandon, but I'm assuming scheduling conflict.
They found out Ducky was going to be there.
That is also part of it too. We're going to have our own guys there, and Ducky will be in attendance, and he is not going to hold back questions if he's got any of them. We know that. He's going to have something. We now have half of the teams, though. Half of the teams. Yes.
And so the last time we spoke on episode 75, which if you haven't checked it out, go check it out. But the last time we spoke, we pontificated, we speculated. Maybe hopefully we'll get one of these for every team. Well, now we're at half of the teams. I'm hoping that the surprise is tonight, the day before this episode comes out, the day we're recording, we get one that, hey, Roughnecks fans, come and rough them up with Coach Curtis Johnson, because I'm going to be there getting live, getting loud, and I'm hoping it's there, and I won't be mad that it wasn't out by the time we record to put it in here. But let me know. I'm excited for that one to come through, and we still have a couple other ones. I'm surprised, and maybe you know what it is, Zach. They're waiting for the best for last because we still have DC. Yes. We still have St. Louis, which is going to be a big one. And then, of course...
Yeah. Last year's, that was my first thought. Mm-hmm. That whole setup that they had where it was like, it was actually by the aquarium down there. Mm-hmm. But like, you saw the photos from last year. It was like,
it was
several
massive.
hundred in attendance. It's a massive event.
Massive. And then you have the one I was talking about with the Houston Roughnecks, which if we're lucky, which I wouldn't doubt if they do. If we're lucky, they just bring the championship because they already know where it's going to end up. They might as well just store the championship trophy in Houston. And what better way to do it than a town hall coming up? You say, hey, guys, good news. This team, as you all know, is going 12-0 in 2024. We're going to rough them up. This is the trophy that you're going to be awarded, at least your team is going to be awarded. So if you want a picture before everybody's rushing to see it, now is your chance. That's what I hope. We'll see. We have, but we still got to get it on. We still got to get it scheduled first. That's all. So hopefully
how they may spoil you, how they might just get you all gassed up to have that complete deflation seem even 3 times worse than it already is. That is a great way of getting a fan base to be completely depressed by the end of the year. Love it.
Depressed? We're gonna be 12-0. There's no way to be depressed. I don't know if you saw.
Hey! You want to know some experience? I had this happen to me too. It's the exact thing. Chicago, the 100-year anniversary that the Bears had in 2019, they did the exact same thing. They said we're going all the way. This is the team of destiny. And then it was the biggest deflating moment in my sports fandom in my life. It'll be you next.
Here's the biggest difference.
To you. This is planned.
Here's the biggest difference. That's the Chicago Bears, and we're the Houston Roughnecks. I'm just saying, if the Bears ever want to get on the field, I'll tell you what, Mark Thompson will run through them. He'll steal their cleats and he'll sell them on Twitter. That's all I'm saying. Sign them up. You know what? We're winning 12-0.
He's not going to sell them because they're not Gators gear. What are you talking about?
He don't care. He'll be like, hey, you want some Bears cleats? Someone will buy them. And Mark Thompson will sell them. I might buy them. Anyway, so the town halls, these are a great way for you to go learn about the league, build, from the people building these leagues from the ground up, get your questions in. I went out to all of them in Houston in 2019, 2020. I went to all of them in 2023, although there was, a few. And I plan on going to all of them in 2024. So let's get it on the docket. And hey, if you guys need my help, I'm just one phone call away. I'll go there. I'll be a ref. I'll call it down the middle, and I'll tell you how it is. 12-0, rough them up. All in two. Screw it.
You got to be confident. So I hope they bring the trophy. Like I said, hey, you know what? Aspire for goals, or I get to laugh when the downfall is even sweeter. That's all I can tell you.
Just wait. Just wait till it happens. New refs law. New league, new refs law. 12-0.
New
rough
refs
them up.
law.
Speaking
Hypotheses happen every now and then.
Yeah.
Happened last year. Just wasn't a good theory.
I can't wait to see what refs law is this year. And if it's the Panthers losing every time. If we go 12-0 and you go 0-10, like
refs law. I hope I can break this year because I don't want to have to be winning something and then watch that complete backslide at home again and again and again. We have 3 games to start the year. I can't. I don't want to see that happen that way. But what do I know? The future is how you write it. It's how they write it. Is all I'm saying. Final event we didn't mention, by the way, San Antonio. So got a bit of a gap. Wade Phillips and Daryl Johnston again. He'll be joining those guys over there. So we know the rest are coming out, though. Mm-hmm. Like you just said. So DC, St. Louis, Houston's going to have one as well. I mean,
Arlington.
Arlington's also going to have one. You'd imagine. I mean, they're going to get them all out there, and they're going to keep doing the media cycle. This is something that we've talked before. The XFL. I give them the props in this regard. They did a great job getting their coaches out in the community. I thought the USFL, and even Daryl Johnson said he felt, post USFL season that they could have done a few extra things better getting out there and promoting that they are still around. And I think he's taking that to heart too, going, you know what, we have to I agree, we have to hit the grindstone even harder than we do in the launch season as we go on, because it's the stigma's real, people.
Right.
The stigma is real. It's hard to break the spring football stigma. You got to stick around and you got to show them that you ain't going anywhere.
Right.
Luckily for these teams, as much as I'm sad for the other 8, they're showing they ain't going anywhere. Is what's happening. Birmingham, especially. You guys, I better see Protective packed. I need to see that place packed out. I'm telling you right now.
I want to see. I want to see all these places packed, especially Houston. So if you're in Houston. And you don't buy a ticket, I'm going to find you. And I'm going to say mean things to you. Not anything more than that. So buy your tickets. And actually, on that note, we're working on getting a group rating for both days of spring stock for Arlington and Houston. I forgot to mention this earlier. So stay tuned in the next week or two. We should have a link that should get you a discount on the tickets if you're part of the spring stock, spring stock day 1 and 2 gaggle. So another reason why spring stock is just the place to be. The biggest party. The party's in the parking lot both days. Sign us up. I'm ready. So
Here we go. Some things we're going to be talking about at spring stock, and we're going to be talking as we go closer to spring stock, is the rule book, which slowly but surely we are having it trickle out in different places what the rules are going to be. Now, credit, some of the predictions have been right, some have been wrong in some regards, but these two specifically are coming basically from the source who's running football operations, by the way, in Daryl Johnston, who went live on air recently. I'm trying to remember the radio station specifically that he was on, so bear with me. But while he was on this discussion, he did stick to some guns on things coming up with the league, in particular the kickoff and special team sub, which has been a massive, I think, talking point in terms of what is it going to look like. You do have 2 camps. I know that the XFL one I will say might be a tad louder, but there are a lot of proponents of the USFL kickoff setup as well. And well, we kind of got, as what I would expect, a compromise. Basically, look, this has been compromises on each side all through this system. So is anyone really shocked when I tell you that the USFL kickoff is the one that won out, but the XFL PAT system is what won out? And you know what? It's got, to me, I'm going to just throw this out here to get started. It's got a lot of people butthurt, and I'm just going to tell you now, get over it, because truth is, this has been compromises the entire time. If you really are going to be mad about this right now for random things throughout the deal, obviously you didn't understand what was going to happen in a merger. I'm just saying, there wasn't going to be that you get your one specific rule set completely kept and the other doesn't. That was completely, to me, for those people that are arguing, oh, this is a crying shame we lose the XFL kickoff, this is a crying shame we can't kick, PATs and stuff, and there's opinions. I got opinions on both either way, but the reality of the situation is, guys, this was going to happen. Someone was going to lose what they wanted. Get over it. This is what you want. If you want spring football, you're stuck. I am sorry. You can keep making a stink, but at some point, someone was going to get their way. That has been the back and forth. This entire merger conversation. What else are you going to do? That's all I can tell you. What else are you going to do?
I'll say this. I'm of the camp where I did like the USFL style kickoff and the USFL style of PAT, point after attempt, right? But if I'm fine with this, I'll take it. Again, are they playing football? Good. I'm glad. There's more spring football to watch. I think I have more of an affinity for the kickers, for the PAT than the kickoff. I would have almost liked to see it reverse. That's my only gripe. It's because I look at guys like Brandon Aubrey, right? Although the PAT is probably not indicative of what his career is, because, he's getting field goals and, those are probably more impressive than the PAT. But anyway, it takes away a little bit more of an opportunity. On the flip side of the same coin, though, is it does give more opportunity for the players on the ground it's another play for them to showcase both on defense and offense, really. So, I mean, either way, is it going to make me say I'm not watching this league? No. Is it going to make anybody do that? I don't think so. I don't know. Maybe there are going to be a couple, one or twos. I figure most of the people that are going to tune out, and this is all honest here, are going to be people that lost out on teams, people in Seattle, people in Las Vegas, things like that.
Right.
The kickoff and the point after, maybe there's a couple of people that stop watching. I don't think so. And that's not, I think people should have opinions on this, though. And this is where spring football, if there's any major sports leagues out there in any type of sport, spring football, if anyone's going to listen to you, it's these spring football organizations, right? And so throughout the year, we might see something to where, oh God, I'm trying to think. There was a couple examples of it throughout the USFL where they legit changed a rule in the middle of the season, right?
Well, I mean, they did flip. I was to say they flipped around, for example, and credit, this was more for the convenience and we never got to see it again, but they did it. They did the pick rule for Michigan and Pittsburgh. So that was one example in particular. That was a rule in place that if it came up again, they were going to basically make that as a play for the first pick in a draft. So there's an example there. They listened to fans on the footballs and players and coaches. So, look, I mean, I'll admit, like, you're right. Like, look, you can keep being vocal. I'm not saying don't be vocal. Like, you should have your opinion, and things can change is the deal. But I keep finding it hilarious. People go back and they feel like it's the end of the world because in a merger, and if anyone's ever been through a merger in their own company or has heard about mergers anywhere else, guess what? Certain things get picked and chosen, and it's win or lose. You don't get everything. It's always a compromise. So it is amazing the amount of people that I think are just, I almost feel like it's like resetting their mind. Like, oh yeah, I forgot. This is a merger, It's like, oh yeah, you know what? Why is none of these? Why are some of these rules getting kicked out? This is ridiculous. And it's like, no, it's because it's a merger, guys. We were going to have to pick something. That's how it happens. Now, I think the argument can be talked about that the XFL kickoff is being adapted more elsewhere, and I think that's the better talking point instead of saying, oh, it's ridiculous they picked this one or the other. No. I think the better talking point is, hey, the NFL's looking at it. Somehow the CFL is. I was actually surprised to hear that the other day, but apparently they are too. ELF is already using it. It's going to go into another season with the system. So there's your talking point. But, beyond that, like, don't act like it's like, to me, don't act like it's the end of the world and expect this was like a big shock that they didn't pick one or the other. Like, there were going to be a concession.
Right.
Like, okay, do you want the PAT or do you want the kickoff? Well, people were defending the PAT really hardcore, and some people, Hal Mummy, by the way, actually defended the USFL kickoff and PAT system to the point where he thought that the XFL PAT system was hurting kickers, like some people were trying to argue. So it is a hot debate. This is all over the place.
And this is just the beginning because we have a few more rules like this: 1 foot, 2 foot. Right. And that one, I know there's going to be some debate. I'm still a 2 foot guy. I'm still a 2 foot guy.
I'll go with what I just talked about. Look, I expect anything with this merger, but if I got to throw my opinion out here, I'm like you. If we're talking what's better for the players, for film, 2 feet is what the folks want. And yeah, I know college does it and CFL does it, but 2 feet's what the NFL uses. And that, I think that's also some people, they come back with the PAT discussion with those that are arguing the USFL one. I've seen a lot of isn't it better aren't you trying to move players up and the kickers and like that? And I think like the XFL one, it's more about the player safety, which again, valid argument. You can talk about that, so there's that. But like, there's some things, it's going to be a debate, but hey, just my stance on it, just remember, you're not going to get everything. Right. It's going to be, some stuff will get lost in the ether somewhere. You have to expect anything to happen. So if it's 1 foot, I'll live. That's my stance. I will live. It will be fine. Will I have an opinion? Sure. But I will live. I'm not going to be like some folks out here that are going to be like, it's the end of the freaking world. How dare they sin on my gracious ground? No. Yeah. You'll live. Trust me. It's going to be okay. We'll have a little talking circle, everybody. Let's just grab hands and sing Kumbaya. You have a life outside of football too. Remember this. You don't need to
barely, but I'm speaking for myself. But yeah. Oh man, good times. What else do we got? I mean, I think that's all the UFL news, but there is a little game this weekend, I think, right? Isn't there a football game this weekend?
Some sort of bowl. Is college? Feels like it's
is this one? Game? The Mega Bowl came back, right?
Oh,
the Mega
wow,
Bowl?
Really?
Is that what it is?
That's not it. Brian Woods has got PSL stuff to worry about. The Super Bowl. How can I forget the Super Bowl?
That's
going on.
Oh,
wow.
Man. I didn't really want to, of all years, it's funny. My Lions have never been in the Super Bowl, but I'm usually really excited to watch it. It's been hard to muster up excitement this year. I'm not going to lie. It's been hard to muster it up. I was just thinking about it the other day. I was like, oh yeah, the Super Bowl's this weekend. I should probably watch that. I'm going to watch it. I'm going to do the whole snacks and the whole thing and all that. I'll be honest. I don't know who to pick for. Part of me is like a spite pick. I'm going to run you through my process here.
Yeah. Let me hear this.
And part of it, I don't know. I'm usually pretty accurate with my Super Bowl picks, so it's hard. I don't even want to say it on record because this will be the year. But I'll tell you this. There's nothing in me that can go for the San Francisco 49ers after they beat the Lions. Now, the argument could be, well, don't you want them to win because then you lost to the team that won the Super Bowl? No, I don't. I don't want to lose. I want to win. I want to win. I don't care what they do. I actually want them to lose so they don't get to have enjoyment and they can feel, I won't say and their fans feel the way I did, but if somebody could feel that way, enjoy that. Plus,
deflating.
The Chiefs.
Deflating.
The Chiefs are the find out how to win the game team. They will find out a way to win that game. They may not be better, but they're consistently good. It doesn't hurt that they're the media darlings right now. When everybody thought that they were sick of, what was it, Brittany Mahomes? Is that the one? They were sick of her.
Yes.
Remember that was last year? They're like, God, get her out of the booth, blah, blah, blah. They're like, oh, you know what we're going to do? Taylor Swift. And now it's like, so I don't know. I can already see Jason Kelsey down on the field with the trophy. Taylor Swift, fresh off of her plane from Japan, throughout the game. Is she going to make it? Is she not going to make it? Right? They win right at the last second, and here she comes running on the field.
Like a Domino's pizza tracker, they're going to have a Taylor Swift plane tracker. I am calling it right now on CBS. It's going to happen.
And I hope she's in every commercial. You might as well do it. I mean, sign her up. I have no problems with the Taylor Swift thing. I really don't care. I mean, if it was if it was the Lions, I might. But I don't care. I'm not a Chiefs fan. Have fun, buddy. We beat them week 1. So anyway,
I'm watching football, man.
Yeah,
she can be a fan. It's all cool, guys.
Yeah, I don't care
live with that. Again, same concept. You'll live.
Yeah, exactly. The game's still the game. The score's still the score. But I think the Chiefs pull it out. I think it's case in point. The 49ers did almost lose to us. We killed them the first half. And if they would have did that against the Chiefs, that first half against the Chiefs, that game would have been done. Right.
I do think I think that's going to be something I'm watching for is, look, the 49ers defense, they showed the numbers post game of that matchup. And actually defense has been kind of lacking matchups that they've had this postseason, Green Bay and Detroit. The NFC North did a number on those, on their defense, which pretty stacked roster all around. And now you got to face, and credit, as all the media pundits have been saying, a down year for the Kansas City Chiefs, but it's Andy Reid with an extra week to prepare. I'm not going to give Matt Nagy credit for reasons, clearly, but look, Andy Reid with extra week, that's hard to bet on for me to take against. I've had a tough battle with this, really, and I think this would have been so much easier if Detroit was in, because I was ready. I mean, after the Michigan Panthers thing, we have the kudos here, but I'll tell you, I can't bet against Mahomes with this one. I can't. I got to go Kansas City. I think it's going to be a good game. I really do. I like Brock Purdy. I really think that he's going to show a few things in this one. But I can't bet against Patty Mahomes. Dude is the new Tom Brady. You saw it this year. It's the same shtick that we saw with a few Brady seasons of the past. Oh, look, woe is me. The season's down. Things aren't working and ticking. Hits the playoffs. All right. I'm focused in. Dime.
Right.
All right. We're in another championship game. All right. We're in another Super Bowl. San Francisco's coming to town. It's like, oh, we got the more loaded, talented roster. Oh, crap, he's getting hot right now. Oh, crap, Taylor Swift's in town.
Yeah.
Oh, crap. It's all over. It's over.
Yeah. I'd love to see what was their, because she wasn't at every game this year, right? Like, what was their win-loss record with her at the games? I'd be curious.
I gotta look that up. She was at like a good chunk of the home games, and she was in that one. She was in one of the games in New York against the Jets. That was one of them. Yeah, I got to find that. Someone's going to have it. Swifties are their own breed of like football, in the way of football crazies, where it's like, except they're a much larger base.
I'll tell you this. When I'm going to London for AEW All In, Taylor Swift is playing at Wembley, which is huge. Ooh. The whole week. She had like 4 dates on, and I think they added 2 recently.
Oh, my God.
To the thing. Yeah. So that's how big Taylor Swift is. So I already told my wife, I said, you realize everything is going to be Taylor Swift while we're in London. Like everything, they're going to have Taylor Swift banners and
you're going to
Taylor Swift City.
You're going to scalp a ticket. I can see it now.
Dude, I looked to go buy tickets because I was like, dude, I am going to go buy them and stand out front of that stadium and flip them. And dude, it was like 800 pounds. So probably like $1,000 for like a crap seat, face value, not even aftermarket. So I'm like, oh geez, I wish, because if I had extra money, that would probably pay for my trip. Stand out front, last minute Taylor Swift tickets, $5,000 each. Anything you want. All right, $6,000 each. All right.
You're probably right about that conversion. I was actually curious. So right now, just random, we're basically into like off-season, off-topic kind of category of how this is going. But $1 in the U.S. is equivalent to 0.79 pound. So you may be right. You
Yeah.
might be close on that conversion. That's not too wild to think about.
No, I'm
there.
curious. Let's see. 800
Yeah.
Great British pounds to USD. Oh, man, I am good. $1,009.55.
Wow, dude. That is how can you get that close?
Here's why. Do you want to know the secret sauce here?
Well, of course.
I'm
It's
planning
money.
a trip. I'm planning a trip to Europe, to London, and so I'm so good at converting it now because I've been converting my hotels, all of my stuff to see how much I'm paying. So I'm really good at like getting a general idea of 800. That should be about $1,000. Like I think 20 pounds is around $25, somewhere in there. It's never exactly right, but it's around the ballpark.
Oh, yeah, sure.
But that's
yeah.
why if this was like won or pesos, I wouldn't have a clue. I would be wildly off.
Only experience I have with that was buying an ELF season pass with euros because they're only in euros on the website.
Which
So,
euros I have?
Pretty
Those
close.
are almost like 1-to-1. It's
Pretty
almost
much.
like 1-to-1. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean that's pretty 1-to-1, So
Yeah.
and I also know that because I did a trip to Ireland 2 years ago and they use euro. So
Right.
But Southern Ireland, not Northern Ireland. That's pound. Just remember that. Fun fact you can take away today. A lot of fun facts. to
Oh
end
yeah,
the show.
don't ever tell people in Northern Ireland that they're from Ireland, and if you work, yeah, fuck it. Oh, I'll leave it at that. Well, I'll cut that out.
We're into the show. Big YouTube doesn't care.
Yeah.
Doesn't care. You people are big boys and girls. You'll be okay.
Yeah, you'll get over it. But what I was going to say is, they're very particular about the flag over there. I only know that from personal experience of working for a large business and learning that if I use the Irish flag for Northern Ireland or the Union Jack for Northern Ireland, they get really mad. They get really That's not our flag. Gee, I don't know. I'm just a dumb American, man. Leave me alone.
I think that's a good way to get out.
Yeah.
No, but yeah. You got me. All right, guys. Thanks for tuning in to episode 76. We're going to get more regularly jumping on here as we get into the season, so don't go anywhere. Things are heating up. But hey, if you don't catch us during the week, if we have the show off for now until we get closer to training camp, catch us every Monday, no matter what. Him and I were on Mondays, 6 p.m. Eastern, 3 p.m. Pacific on this same channel live with the rest of our big PFN crew talking all things around the UFL. Going to be a great show coming up this Monday, so stay with us. Still have to announce some of the details on what's going to be with that show, so you'll hear from us very soon on that. And follow those socials at UFL Podcast, at PFN Newsroom, and also at Around the UFL on your favorite social media platform. And PFN Newsroom is the subscription on YouTube. And if you're on here watching the video, what the hell are you doing? Click that subscribe button. Click the bell. It builds morale, people. And you're never going to miss an episode of any of these awesome shows or the clips that maybe you didn't get to check out from a show you missed. So that's going to be all we got today. Catch you guys later for that. Check out Springstock 3 details coming up March 30th and 31st if you're joining us in Houston. And we'll see you for episode 77 next time on the UFL Podcast.